Attention on deck.
Your instructor is a Top Gun graduate with real-world experience in every mission aspect you will be expected to master. His exploits are legendary, and he's considered to be one of the finest pilots this program has ever produced. What he has to teach you may very well mean the difference between life and death. I give you Captain Pete Mitchell. Call sign, Maverick.
Good morning.
What's cracking, YouTube? Maverick. Brands Fans Football. Let's get this. I think actually I find the ESPN crew very annoying. I find them to be very annoying. Dan Thomas is out of the question entirely. He's out of the question because he was never even a footballer. As far as I'm concerned, I think they bring him on the show just because he has a very, because of his personality. As far as I'm concerned, though, that's what I've seen. I think we all know somebody like a Dan Thomas in our friends, in our colleagues. I think we all know somebody like that who doesn't really have any experience or expertise to back up what he says. But for some reason or the other, he's just happened to find himself in a position where he can throw out opinions, throw out dissent, whatever comes across as intellectual to him, he just goes ahead with it. And he's that guy that, for one reason or the other, his position is secure. And that's not being any particular compliment to ESPN in the first place, because really, if you think about the entire crew that you often see on ESPN, I don't rate anybody on that crew very highly. I think the only person I rate highly in the entire ESPN crew is probably Stevie Nichols. And that's because I look at his background, I look at his career in football, as a player, as a manager, and I'm like, yeah, for sure, this guy gets a pass. I mean, Stevie Nichols has actually won Premier League Player of the Year. Well, not Premier League Player of the Year, but, he was the Player of the Year in the league when he was playing then. So I give him his props because he actually has titles to go with everything he's on about. But really, Craig Burley, the best I remember of Craig Burley was from his Celtic days. Do you get? And really, in his Celtic days, who was Craig Burley? Craig Burley is like a watered down Roy Keane. Let me put it like that. I mean, really watered down. I mean, watered down in terms of talent, watered down in terms of temper, watered down in terms of opinions. Really, everything about Craig Burley, as far as I'm concerned, is just a watered down version of Roy Keane. But I like him. I'm not, I haven't made that comparison to diss him. I'm just saying that if I think about Craig Burley and I'm thinking about how best do I want to describe him without going into too many words, without talking too much, that's exactly what I would say. I would say, think of a watered down version of Roy Keane, a not so fiery version, a not so aggressive version. Aggressive, yes, but not, I mean, come on, is it Roy Keane that we're talking about here? So he's a watered down version, and I respect his opinions. The real reason why I respect Craig Burley's opinions is quite simply, he gives them. They can be right, they can be wrong, they can be opinionated, they can be subjective, they can be biased, they can be neutral, they can be professional. I give Craig Burley his pass on the basis of the fact that dude he doesn't compromise. If you think about the adjectives I've just used now, you get, you're not going to sell Craig Burley a let's pass this off. Craig Burley is never going to pass off what's not his opinion. Do you understand? Dan Thomas can be told, hey, look, when you go into the studio for this session, you guys are about to be about, probe, be aggressive, throw out a couple of insults. Dan Thomas can be given directions as to how to go about his part of the show. You can't give Craig Burley directions. The only direction you can give Craig Burley is see where to sit, see which microphone to use. Every other thing is going to be him, undistilled, unrefined, and I respect him for that. I accept him for that. But it's just I just want to be clear that this is where I think he is, right? And as for Shaka Hislop, I actually watched more of Shaka Hislop than I did of Craig Burley. I watched Shaka Hislop. I watched him at I think at Newcastle. I watched him at West Ham, and he was never really particularly exceptional as a goalkeeper, right? Trinidad and Tobago, I think, national team. Yes. Yeah, so I'm here's what I'm trying to say though. Let it not be like I'm just calling these guys names to diss them, right? I'm just saying that in punditry today,